my dear friend. Welcome you all in this session of MCI question discussion of August 2020. My name is Ashwani Ranjan, and the questions were, the first one question is about the 4 pillars of PHC, and we all know that the wrong answer here is appropriate facility, because out of the 4 pillar, it is appropriate technology. And appropriate technology is of course something which can be used by rural population who are less literate and which is cheap in cost. For example, if we have ORS or the Sakir tape, which is used to measure mid-arm circumference. So we are measuring mid-arm circumference, and suppose there is an ASA worker who just look at the red color of the mid-arm circumference Sakir tape. So just by looking at red colors, he can identify malnutrition. Okay, so it is low cost, also can be used in rural area. Now intersectoral coordination includes example like improvement of Anganwadi, because Anganwadi comes under Ministry of Women and Child Welfare, and it was started under Ministry of Social Development, then Anganwadi come under Ministry of Child and Women Welfare. So if the PHC is improving Anganwadi, so PHC comes under Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and Anganwadi comes under Ministry of Women and Child Welfare. Okay, they can ask it as separate question also. So if you are improving Anganwadi, improving transport facilities and all, so they are intersectoral coordination. And equitable distribution simply means it is not equal. Equitable means giving more to those who need more. For example, if you are posted as a medical officer in PHC, your first duty is to go to the Harijan Mohalla, to the slum area of the village, and improve that area first, by giving them better facility, giving more to those who need more. Okay, so it is not equal, it is equitable. Next question was about long-term changes or sequelae of a disease are seen in. And the answer was secular trend of disease, because secular trend means when there is constant increase or constant decrease of disease cases over a prolonged period of time, then we call it secular trend. The example of secular trend is non-communicable diseases like hypertension and diabetes mellitus, which are constantly increasing in almost all the country. And one more example of secular trend is communicable disease in developed country, because in developed country the communicable diseases are decreasing. Okay, so all those changes which are occurring over long term is secular trend, because there is either constant increase or constant decrease in cases over a prolonged period of time. Okay, so one more example can be communicable diseases constantly decreasing in developed country, except COVID-19, of course. Okay, in developed country. So this except COVID-19. So these two things, NCDs in all country are gradually increasing, so that is also secular, and communicable disease, that is also secular. Now the confusing option was C, when it said disease changing its trait according to herd immunity in the population. So the concept of herd immunity is useful when we are talking about disease like measles or polio, which is spread from person to person. So suppose 95% children are immunized for measles. If 95% children are immunized for measles, then the remaining 5% will be protected because of herd immunity. The remaining 5% are protected due to herd immunity. Remaining 5%. Why? Because these 5% are living among those people who are immunized. So those immunized children will not let the infection get transferred to this unimmunized child, and therefore this unimmunized child will get protected due to herd immunity. So the elimination of measles and polio, these can be due to herd immunity. But If you talk about long-term changes, that is definitely secular trend. If they ask elimination of communicable disease is due to, then the answer will be herd immunity. Because if 95 children are immunized for measles, remaining 5% are protected due to herd immunity, and therefore if we achieve this target of giving vaccine to 95% children, we can actually eliminate measles. Okay, so to eliminate measles and polio, herd immunity, but for other, secular trend. Now this question is about the races, and they are saying one very clear things here, that the races are of different type, macule, papule, vesicles, and they are seen in different stages. So seen in different stages means pleomorphic, and pleomorphic races are characteristic of chickenpox. The races of chickenpox are seen in different stages, that's why it is pleomorphic. Second characteristic, you all know, it is centripetal because it occurs in trunk and less on periphery. Third is the races do not occur on palm and sole. Okay, and the fourth characteristic of races of chickenpox is it looks like dewdrops on rose petal, जैसे गुलाब की पंखड़ियों पर ओस की बूंदें हों, है ना. So these four things are there. Now when we talks about dewdrops on rose petal, it means it is macule, papule and vesicle. It is coming out from the body surface very clearly. Okay, so because these are in different stages, definitely the answer is chickenpox. And next question is very interesting. He said that after cerebrovascular accident, a man came for checkup. So all the checkup which happen, the checkups are for early detection and treatment. So after let's say ischemic stroke, after hemiparesis, why the patient is coming back? They want to detect whether BP is under control or not, whether a second attack can happen or not. So that is the early detection. Or they can come for physiotherapy part, which is also a treatment of ischemic stroke, hemiparesis, है ना? So in both the cases, whenever the people come for checkup, they do early detection and treatment, and early detection and treatment means secondary prevention. So that's why the answer is definitely secondary prevention. Okay, if this patient would be coming for wheelchair, coming for assisted something, that will be tertiary, है ना? Here they are coming for checkup, so that's why it is secondary. Okay, now next question was about crude death rate. When is the mid-year population taken? Because whenever we measure crude death rate or crude birth rate, in the definition of crude death rate or crude birth rate, we always put the total death by total mid-year population into 1000. And of course, it is very obvious that the mid-year population will be equal to 1 of July, because 6 months up to June and then 6 months after that. So the mid-year population is taken at 1 of July. Okay. Now, least iron content is presented. Out of the following thing, of course, the least iron content will be in the milk, because milk is having less content of iron, less content of vitamin D. If they ask about egg have less content of vitamin C. Okay, so the answer is obvious, it is milk. Now one more question which some student has told was that buffalo milk has which of the following highest. So if they talk about human milk have 4 things which is highest. One is the lactose, second is the water, third is the taurine and cysteine amino acid, and Fourth is the docosahexaenoic acid, DHEA. Because taurine, cysteine and DHEA, these two things, they help in development of brain. We know that, है ना? Help in brain development. So, apart from these four things, all other things are greatest in buffalo milk. Buffalo milk will have, buffalo milk, so human milk have highest, these four things are highest in human milk, and buffalo milk have highest. Again, there are many things which are highest in buffalo milk. Of course, there will be fat highest, there will be protein which will be highest in buffalo milk, then there will be iron and calcium will be highest in buffalo milk as compared to cow. So first, most thickest milk is buffalo, then there is cow, then there is other animals, and human milk is something which has these four things in maximum. Okay, and although iron and calcium in human milk are less, but they are more absorbed by human infant. So iron and calcium of actually mother milk, human mother milk, is best for human child, and it's obvious. Human child will have more digestive capacity for iron and calcium present in human milk. They can absorb better iron and calcium present in human milk. Okay, so of course that is what quite a common answer. So if there is blood spilled on the floor, I again and again say the same thing, that we use sodium hypochlorite solution over it. Okay, because sodium hypochlorite is not only used as a disinfectant for blood spill, but also for COVID-19 we are using sodium hypochlorite, 0.5% sodium hypochlorite, to wipe the goggles and face shield, because the guideline says that we can use goggles and face shield up to 5 times. So for every time we first disinfect it with sodium hypochlorite solution. Okay, so please remember that if there is blood spill on the ground, we will put sodium hypochlorite over it. Now if the blood spill is very small in amount, let's say 2-3 drop, then you will put a piece of paper. First you will put sodium hypochlorite, then a piece of paper over it to absorb it, and then you will throw the piece of paper in yellow color plastic bag, which is for all the liquid waste we throw in yellow color plastic bag. If the blood spill is too much, then again you will pour sodium hypochlorite 1% solution and you will wipe it to the nearest drainage area. So whatever, whether the blood spill is small in amount or large in amount, in both the cases we have to first put sodium hypochlorite. Okay, chalo. Now the next question is about this mark. This is the mark of Bureau of Indian Standard, BIS has this mark. Okay, next question was a question on Delphi technique. So Delphi technique means what happen is 6-7 expert, they discuss the recommendations. Suppose you are trying to make a policy on how to control COVID-19. So first what happen is that 4-5 people will make a committee and they will make some policy. Then they will send this policy to some more expert, and each expert will give their opinion on that policy. After each expert has given the opinion, then you will collect all the information and you will compile one final health policy for COVID-19. So it means there is a group of doctors who are contributing here. Okay, so Delphi technique is done on a group of people which combine their opinion one after another. They give the input and then all the input are combined to give the final outcome. So that is definitely done on group. So they are asking the color coding for this. There were 74 dead. So for dead we all know there is black. 64 severely injured. Severely injured we use red. 20 are moderately injured. Moderately injured means we use yellow. And mildly injured means we use green, because green is the ambulatory. Ambulatory means what? Those who can not run like ambulance, but at least who can walk on their own feet. Those who need dressing and stitches, mildly injured. they are green color ambulatory patients. And of course black is moribund, red are those who need surgery within 6 hours, and yellow are those who need surgery between 6 to 24 hours. So here if they ask the sequence according to the event, then it should be black, red, yellow, green according to the 4 event. But you can see there is no sequence like that. Black, red, yellow, green, there is no sequence given in that option. So actually that why they have not given option like that, because the real question is color coding in triage, highest to lowest. So we need not to arrange it according to the event. We have to arrange it according to highest to lowest. And of course highest priority is to red, second is to yellow, third is to green, and fourth is to black. So the answer is D. Now they can also ask question from reverse triage. Reverse triage is done during war, and in reverse triage the first priority is given to green. Okay, why green first priority? Because if some soldier will come with minor injury, you will first attempt them and you will send them to fight again, है ना, come with major injury, है ना, because you want more soldier at the war front. Second reason to attend green first is you want your bed to be empty for more serious patient. So that's why you attend green first, do the dressing stitches and make the bed available for more serious patient, है ना. And there can be a third reason also, that the green will help us in helping other people. Green category can help us in treating other. So first priority is definitely green in reverse triage, and second will be the yellow, not the red, because we can save life of many 3-4 yellow patient in the same time when we can save life of 1 red patient. So in war we want to save maximum life, so we attend yellow first, then red, and of course the fourth will be black. So this is a simple triage question in which the answer is red, yellow, green, black. If it would be war or reverse triage question, then the sequence will be green, yellow, red, black. Okay, this was a curve without a gap, and they are looking at the frequency with age, frequency of anything with age. Let's say they are talking about frequency of cigarette smoking with age. So of course between 20 to 30 year it is more, 30 to 40 year it is like that. So here, because there is no gap between the bars, that's why it is histogram. And in histogram there are 2 things. First thing, there is no gap. Second thing, all bar are of equal width. Their width should be equal, like 20 to 30, 30 to 40. The age group is equal, width is equal. The third thing which make it histogram is that they are using quantitative data here. Quantitative means something we can measure, like we can measure the age, we can measure the frequency of smoking or frequency of anything. So it is quantitative data in which you can see there is no gap between bar, and bar are of equal width. So that's why the answer is histogram. Of course if it will be bar diagram, we all know it will be 2 curves, something like this. It is bar diagram. Frequency polygon means you take the midpoint of all the curve and you join that together. So this line, something like this, it will be the frequency polygon, and frequency polygon has always a sharp turn, that is frequency polygon. And scatter diagram, we all know, suppose I am drawing the diagram between number of marks and the hours which you give in the study, hours of study. So it can be somehow related like that. This is a scatter plot. So a scatter plot represent correlation, of course. So this is definitely histogram. Now which is true about silicosis? It is not reversible. Mostly it causes irreversible damages in the X-ray. And when you look at the X-ray of a chronic silicosis patient, the X-ray will show snowstorm appearance. ऐसा लगेगा जैसे फेफड़ों में तूफान आ रखा है ना. Snowstorm appearance on X-ray. That means there will be white fumes over the lung field, lung parenchyma, white fumes going away. So that is snowstorm appearance. And this snowstorm appearance and calcification which can be found in silicosis, it is also found in TB patient. So there is always a chance in silicosis patient that because their lung parenchyma is already damaged, so TB can develop in them. Therefore, in silicosis patient, we always keep screening for TB by sputum microscopy or CBNAT. But we do not check for TB by X-ray, because X-ray of silicosis and TB are same. So to diagnose TB, we do sputum smear or CBNAT examination and we rule out TB. But in silicosis patient, TB screening should be done. So this is correct answer. Now it has written that it takes 6 to 10 years to develop. It is wrong, because it takes around 10 to 20 years, or some book write 10 to 30 years to develop. So to develop, it takes more than 10 years, more than or equal to 10 years. Okay, that's why option B is wrong. And it is not reversible, so option A is wrong. In some cases, like, the point is that the reversible and irreversible thing depends on how much exposure you had and what are the activity which you are doing after the exposure. If you have left the exposure, suppose you left the work at cement factory and then the exposure is of only some time, 2, 3 years, 4 years, then it is reversible. But if the exposure is for a very long time, then it is irreversible. So you cannot say that it is reversible or irreversible for sure. It depends whether you have left the exposure site or not, and whether you are what you are doing after that. But one thing is for sure, that we need to do TB screening in silicosis patient again and again, because there is more chances of TB in silicosis patient. Now this question was direct question about adulteration of food, and they said that we are using ground nuts and that causing hepatocellular carcinoma. So the ground nut have aflatoxin that causes hepatocellular carcinoma. Now ergot toxin occur due to rye ingestion. Rye is something which is more taken in European country, and rye ingestion with, there can be a fungus, Claviceps purpurea. Claviceps purpurea. This fungus, Claviceps purpurea, it releases ergot toxin, and ergot toxin causes one thing, it causes ulceration, necrosis. Okay, so there will be gangrene formation in rye toxicity or ergot toxicity. Ergot toxin released from rye infected with Claviceps purpurea. Okay, now sanguarine is the poison which come from eating mustard oil contaminated with seeds of Argemone mexicana. You all must have seen the yellow color field of mustard in Shah Rukh Khan movies and all. So in that yellow color mustard field, there is a yellow color flower also of Argemone mexicana, and the seed of Argemone mexicana and mustard, they look alike, so they get mixed sometime naturally, sometime people mix them. That causes epidemic dropsy. Okay, so sanguarine, this poison causes epidemic dropsy. Sorry, sanguarine poison, it causes epidemic dropsy. Okay, second thing is, what is this pyrrolizidine thing that will lead? Sanguarine causes epidemic dropsy. And in epidemic dropsy, what are the symptoms? You might be knowing bilateral pitting edema of the leg, both side, है ना? So this epidemic dropsy is due to mustard oil. Okay, contaminated mustard oil with seeds of Argemone mexicana. Now, Argemone mexicana. This last option, pyrrolizidine, you all must be aware, it is endemic ascites. And this endemic ascites, this occur due to eating crotalaria. Due to eating crotalaria, which is also known as junjunia. Crotalaria. Okay, which is also known as junjunia. So these are the five toxin, and the fifth toxin is neuroletharism disease, which occur due to eating khesari dal having boa toxin. And so neuroletharism is by boa, you all know that. Okay, so mostly it is easy to remember. There is confusion only between this epidemic dropsy and endemic ascites. So I used to think that dropsy, eyelid, my eyelid is dropping, and sanguine I used to think like sleep. So because of dropsy I'm going to sleep, I used to think like that, and you can remember like that. And in dropsy there will be pitting edema, bilateral, because there is drop, you can imagine drop like edema. Okay, so there is due to mustard oil contaminated with seeds of Argemone mexicana, and in this there will be bilateral pitting edema in epidemic dropsy. Okay, so this was the question. Definition of blindness as per WHO, as per India, both is same. It is less than 3/60 in better eye. I think you all know. 3 is for the patient and 3 is for the normal person, sorry, and 60 is for the patient. So 3/60 means what a normal person can see from 3 meter, the patient can see it from 60 meter, and a patient need to go to 60 meter to see the same thing. Okay, so that is why this patient eye vision is low, because he cannot see it from 60 meter what a normal person can see from 3 meter. Okay, so patient vision is low, and in better eye with correction, with available correction. Okay, now if they ask about low vision, suppose next time, what is the cutoff for low vision in WHO and in Indian program? So the low vision cutoff is less than 6/18. So 6/18 means what? What the normal person can see from 6 meter, the patient can see the same thing but from 18 meter. So the patient vision is, that's why low. So this is the criteria of low vision. And what is the most common cause of low vision? That is also a common question. So most common cause of blindness is cataract, but most common cause of low vision is refractive error. Okay, this is refractive error which causes low vision, because refractive error can occur in children, adult, old age, everyone. So that is why it is most common. Okay, now separation of healthy individual and infected animal not more than 1 incubation period is. So if we are separating up to 1 incubation period, that is quarantine. If we are separating up to period of communicability, that is isolation. Isolation means separation till maximum period of communicability. Okay, communicability. Okay, so and quarantine means separation till separation of person suspected of carrying infection till maximum incubation period. Okay, so it is not more than incubation period, but it is equal to maximum incubation period. So the answer is quarantine. Now next question, they are saying they are conducting a study in relation of depression with use of social media. Okay, and I totally agree with it. That's why I use this small phone, because I do think that social media is causing anxiety, depression, sleep deprivation, and a lot of issue in us. So here they started with disease. They are started with depression. So one group had depression, other group do not depression. So if you start with disease, that is definitely case control study. If you start with any risk factor, suppose they say that I am starting with social media, I am starting with only social media, without depression, with depression nahi. I am starting with social media, I am starting with smoking, I am starting with drinking. If we start with risk factor, then the answer will be cohort. If they start with randomization or drug and placebo, if they suppose they are starting with randomization and treatment, that means that study is RCT. So if you focus where they are starting with, then you can find out what is the type of study. Okay, second way of finding out which study is it is to look for keyword. There are some keyword which suggest what study it is. Okay, one keyword is hospital data. if they are comparing hospital data with population data, that type of study is ecological study. And ecological study is also known as correlational study. Okay, correlational study. Suppose the keyword they are using is prevalence. So if they are using prevalence as keyword, it means that is a cross-sectional study. If they are using hospital data, population data, that is ecological. And if they are starting, you understand, hai na? So these are the way to identify which study it is. Either look for the keyword or look for from where they are starting, and you will never be wrong. Okay. Now, a male underwent vasectomy. He must have been told by the doctor to use condom for 3 months. He was not told to use condom. That's why the pregnancy was there in 3 months. Because if you talk about abstinence, abstinence is something on which you cannot rely. Suppose the husband came in mood of having sex with his wife and the wife also agree, then they can have sex. Now, abstinence, you cannot rely on that. So abstinence is not the right suggestion. Suggestion should be something which will be applicable, which is real, practical. So practical suggestions should be given, use condom. The suggestion was not given, so he did 6, and you know that even after vasectomy till 3 months we have sperm in that tube, so it lead to pregnancy. Now in a school scenario, the minimum area is 10 square feet for each child. Okay, they can allot 40 students per classroom, and lights should come from the left side of the class. Okay, and the ratio of floors area to the window and door should be 25%. Okay, and there should be 1 urinal for 60 students, 1 latrine for 100 students. So these are the school health guideline. Of course, minus desk type is correct. Minus desk is something on which, suppose I am writing, my leg can go inside and without bending I can write. So that is minus desk type, when my leg can go inside, and this is in every school we have read it is minus desk type. Okay, so the correct answer is minus desk type. Okay, so the next question is about a follow-up study. We all know follow-up study means cohort study, because only in cohort and in RCT we go in future and we keep looking for new cases. Past is case control and present moment means cross-sectional. That's why cross-sectional is known as snapshot, like a photo study, because cross-sectional is in present moment. So they are doing a cohort study and they are saying that people increasingly develop the disease with time. So in a cohort study, we measure 4 things, not actually. First is the incidence. Incidence, we all know it is the new cases which are occurring. Second is cumulative incidence. Cumulative incidence means new cases by total cases or total people who were getting treated. This is cumulative incidence. And cumulative, third is incidence rate. Incidence rate means occurrence of new cases in respect to time. Okay, new cases, okay, occurrence of cases, new cases with time. And then the fourth thing here is relative risk, which we measure. We all know what is relative risk. Relative risk means new cases out of exposed population divided by new cases in non-exposed. That means new cases by non-exposed. Okay, so we write new cases in exposed divided by total exposed population, and this is divided by new cases in non-exposed divided by total non-exposed population. So let me give you an example to make it all clear. Suppose we are comparing between 2 drugs, drug A and drug B. Both are suppose painkiller drug, and suppose when I use drug A, then out of 10, 4 people get relieved in 1 hour. 4 people relieved in 1 hour out of 10. Okay, so this is for drug A, and suppose second is placebo, in which 1 people get relieved due to placebo in 1 hour. So when we are writing relative risk, it will be 4 cases who get relieved out of 10 in 1 hour, and 1 cases got relieved in the placebo group out of 10 in 1 hour, and now 1 placebo. Okay, so this will be the relative risk for this study. Now, when we are talking about cumulative incidence for drug A, 4 people get relieved out of 10. So the cumulative incidence will be 0.4. And when we are measuring incidence rate, then in incidence rate, 4 cases got relieved in 1 hour. So new cases are 4 and they are relieved in 1 hour. So we will multiply them with 1. So we will get here what is 4. So when we are measuring the occurrence of new cases with time, that is known as incidence rate. And what is the incidence here? Incidence will be 4. Okay, because there are 4 cases which got relieved with this painkiller. So new cases is incidence, that is 4. New cases with total cases, that is cumulative incidence, that is 0.4. New cases in respect to time, that is incidence rate. So what will be the answer of this question? Definitely incidence rate, because they are talking about that people increasing developed disease with time. They are talking in concept with time. So the answer is incidence rate. Okay, I hope it is clear. Next question is, where they are doing a study on a staff nurse, JR, and who are doing yoga, and they show that there is 25% decrease in risk of infection. So they are talking data in terms of 25% and percentage and proportion. Okay, and there is decreased risk of infection. So percentage and proportion are used to express qualitative data. Qualitative data. For example, if I am saying that there is 25% reduction in smokers population. So smoker or non-smoker, this is a quality. Okay, 25% decreased in infection. So this is a quality. There is, it is percentage proportion, means qualitative data. Second thing, we have to look how many groups of population are there. For any of this question, we just have to look 2 things, which type of data and how many groups. So it is qualitative data because of 2 reasons. One is the percentage. Second is they are talking about decreased risk of infection in terms of percentage. So it is qualitative. And how many groups are there? There are 3 groups: nurse, staff, nurses, JR. That means more than 2 groups. So qualitative data and more than 2 groups. So definitely the answer will be chi-square test. Suppose they are asking, suppose they are saying that we are doing yoga which show mean BP decreased from 160 to 140, or they say mean BP of the 3 groups are like that. So if they are talking about mean BP and there are 3 groups, then mean BP is a quantitative data. If they are talking, let's say, in mean BP, then mean BP will be quantitative. For 3 groups, then it will be ANOVA, because more than 2 groups and quantitative data is ANOVA. But because here they are talking in terms of percentage, so the answer is chi-square test, and they are talking about a qualitative thing, decreased risk of infection. Okay. Now, very obvious, the minimum number of antenatal visit is of course 4, because the first visit has to be done in less than 12 weeks, and this visit is for early registration, so that we can start giving folic acid early in first trimester. Then the second visit is between 14 to 26 week. The third visit is between 28 to 36 week, and the fourth visit is around at 38 week or onward, like that. So there are 4 visit minimum, and if you look at maximum visit, the maximum visit will be 13 to 14. That will be the maximum visit. So, but mostly they ask minimum visit. And in all of these minimum visit, we do 4 tests in all of the ANC visit. First is hemoglobin, second is urine, albumin and sugar, third is weight measurement, fourth is BP measurement. 4 tests are done in every ANC visit. Now, a person returning from malaria endemic country should continue prophylaxis for how long? So, there are 3 drugs which we can give for chemoprophylaxis mainly. One is mefloquine, other is doxycycline, okay, and then we can also give chloroquine for chemoprophylaxis. We can also give proguanil and proguanil for chemoprophylaxis. So, mefloquine and doxycycline, it is started taken daily, 2 to 3 days before coming to the country, before coming, and 4 weeks after. So, mostly in case of proguanil, we also use along with it atorvaquone. So, this proguanil and atorvaquone, these are the one drugs which can be stopped at 1 week if you are taking it properly. But mostly if you missed any dose, you have to take that also up to 4 weeks. So, for all the chemoprophylaxis which we are giving here, all the 4, it has to be taken up to 4 weeks. Suppose someone came from Europe, so after going back to Europe, he have to take it for 4 weeks. Now, suppose they ask chemoprophylaxis in pregnancy, what is the drug that you will give? So, in pregnancy, we give mefloquine, not doxycycline, because doxycycline is contraindicated in pregnancy. So, for pregnant female, the chemoprophylaxis is mefloquine, okay, or we can give it with chloroquine, because that is not contraindicated, but not with doxycycline, okay, and it is taken up to 4 weeks. Secular trend is represented by which graph? So, secular trend, as I expressed earlier, is constant increase or decrease in disease over a prolonged period of time. So, suppose I am writing the number of cases of BP patient, number of cases of BP patient with time. So, of course, in India, the number of cases of BP patients are increasing with time. So, which type of diagram it is? It is line diagram, because line diagram represent trend of quantitative data. Whatever they ask the question from trend, it is very simple, the answer will be line diagram. So, trend of quantitative data is expressed by line diagram, and secular trend is there, where number of cases gradually increases over a period of time. Constant increase, and a constant no, but there is increase over a prolonged period of time. That is secular trend. So, the answer will be line diagram. Which of the following is indicative of severity of disease? Of course, case fatality rate. Okay. So, what is the definition of case fatality rate? Case fatality rate means number of death due to a specific disease by total population, by total death if it is divided by total death and multiplied by 100, then it becomes proportional mortality rate. This is not for case fatality rate. We call it case fatality rate when we are dividing number of death due to a specific disease with total case of that disease, okay, with total case of that disease. So, in both of the formula, the multiplication factor is same 100 and the denominator is same total case of that disease. This is the formula for case fatality rate, okay, case fatality rate. So, if they ask which of the following is indicative of severity or lethality, that means how many people who develop case they will die. Suppose they are talking about rabies. So rabies is 99% lethal, let's say, or COVID-19 is 2 to 6% lethal. That means if 100 people will develop rabies, there is a chance that almost 99 of them will die. That is case fatality rate. So indicative of severity, lethality or virulence or killing power. Killing power is lethality, है ना? All of these are measured by case fatality rate. But suppose they ask which of the following is measure of burden of disease out of total death, then the answer is proportional mortality rate. What does it measure? Burden of disease out of total death. For example, we say that in India, 58% people die due to cardiovascular diseases. So the burden of cardiovascular disease is 58% out of total death. Okay, so that is expressed by PMR. And what is specific mortality rate or specific, if they ask? So in specific mortality rate, the thing is very simple. We again write the same numerator, number of death due to a specific disease, but we divide it by total population and multiply it by 1000. That becomes specific mortality rate. Okay, so this is proportional mortality rate. Let me also tell you about specific mortality rate if I got any free slide. Yes. So if suppose they ask about a specific mortality rate, again the numerator will be same, number of death due to specific disease. Okay, but this time it will be divided by total population and multiplied by 1000. So what is the importance of specific mortality rate? It tells about high risk population for death. High risk population for death. Which people belong to high risk population? For example, in India, every day 1400 people die due to TB. Okay, in 24 hours. So if I am saying that TB population is high risk population for death, then we are talking in terms of specific mortality rate. Okay, what is the high risk population for death? So please remember what they tell about. Specific is high risk population for death, proportional mortality rate tells about burden of disease, and virulence tell about killing power, lethality and all is taught by case fatality rate. Okay. Now, if you were head of NVBDCP, malathion spray will be, definitely malathion is spread over every 3 months, and if it is DDT, DDT is spread over 6 months. So that is the reason why even if DDT is toxic and it deposit in fat tissue, in practical cases we use DDT because here we need, it is not indicated but still we use because here we need less manpower. We need to re-spray it in the house after 6 months. But malathion and benzene hexachloride, both of these has to spread over 3 months. Okay, and one thing you should also remember that malathion is least toxic organochloride. Okay, and because it is least toxic organochloride, so it is also used in ultra low volume fogging. Ultra low volume fogging, what is that? You might have seen people coming in machine spraying white fumes, sound and white fume, na, in which children run and hit each other. That white fog like fume which sprays in the houses or in the streets and all, that is ultra low volume fogging. That is also done by malathion, because malathion is least toxic organochloride. Okay, and malathion and BHC both need after 3 month spray, DDT after 6 months. In newborn health mission, which component is not included? So of course we do antenatal care, postnatal visit, care during labor. These 3 are done during the health mission to decrease the newborn death rate. But target of IMR to double digit, this is something which is of course a very vague option. What is the current infant mortality rate in India? Current is around 32 per thousand. 32 children die out of 1000 live birth in a year. And by 2019, we expect it to be 28 per thousand. So that is also double digit. And this target of double digit is actually not is not given in any of the goal. Suppose we are talking about sustainable development goal. So in sustainable development goal, they say that by 2030, we have to reduce MMR to 70 per lakh. This was the question in NEET last year, 70 per lakh. Then they say that neonatal mortality rate has to be reduced to 12 per lakh by 2030. And under 5 mortality rate has to be reduced to 23 per lakh, again by 2030. So if neonatal means what? Less than 1 month. So the target for less than 1 month is also double digit. So of course the target for IMR, which is not given in sustainable development goal, that will also be 2 digit. 2 digit does not mean anything. 99 is also 2 digit, 28 is 2 digit, 12 is also 2 digit. So target of IMR to reduce double digit is not a component of health mission. Okay? The component of health mission for IMR is only this much, that we have to reduce it to 28 per thousand. So double digit is something which is not a target till 2030. IMR target is not for 2030 actually. There is no target of IMR for 2030. In sustainable development goal, the target were only for MMR, NMR and under 5 mortality rate, and in health mission of India of 2017, the target is only till 2019. There is no target for 2030 for IMR. Okay, so the option A is wrong. It does not include there. Okay. Now, this child reported at PHC. What is the likely diagnosis? If the rash start from face and then cover the trunk. So if the rashes start from back of ear and then go to the body, that is definitely measles. Second thing is, by looking at the rashes also here in the image, the measles rashes are never raised above skin surface too much. They are mostly in the skin surface. In chickenpox, the rashes go over skin surface. And that's why they are known as dewdrops, because they go over skin surface. So these are measles rashes because they are merged with each other, fused with each other. They do not too much raises above skin surface like chickenpox rash, and they are starting from face or back of ear and then going to the body. Okay, so because of all of these 3 reasons, it is definitely measles. Now, a country is suspecting a severe disease, so every severe disease has to be reported within 24 hours. Okay, simple. And to report this disease from PHC to higher center and then to further higher center, we have IDSP. This is the program which do the reporting. IDSP is Integrated Disease Surveillance Program. So because coronavirus is there, so they may ask question from IDSP also. This is the program to report from PHC to higher center, and to report outbreaks or any disease from PHC to higher center. Okay? And for this reporting, there are 3 types of form which are known as SPL form. S means suspected case. Those diagnoses which are made by health worker, they are suspected case. P means probable case form. Those diagnoses which are made by medical officer, MBBS doctor at PHC, they are probable case. And L stand for lab confirmed case. So we will report from PHC to higher center, and in reporting we mention whether the disease is diagnosed by doctor, then it will be probable, or it is diagnosed by health worker, then it will be suspected, or it is confirmed by lab. Okay, and we report to higher center like that. Okay. The next question is, it was a new question because they are discussing that the observation is made about how much time is given to different management techniques and what is the time spent with patient care and all. So the answer to this question is work sampling. Work sampling is a management technique in which we analyze what is the proportion of time given to each work, proportion of time allotted or taken in each work. Because if we know what is the time which is taken in each work, then accordingly we can recruit the staff, recruit the doctors, and accordingly we can manage it. So that is known as work sampling, okay, where we analyze proportion of time taken in each work. Okay. We all know network analysis and system analysis. Network analysis have PERT and CPM. Network analysis simply means that you plan your time and action before taking action. And system analysis means that when we are comparing cost effectiveness of two intervention. Suppose you are confused whether to open a, after MBBS you want to, whether to open a nursing hospital or to open an emergency hospital. So you will compare that in nursing hospital opening this much cost will go and this much life I can save. And in emergency hospital this much money is given and this much life I saved. So if you are comparing cost effectiveness of two or more method, two or more intervention, that is known as system analysis. Okay, comparing between two things which will produce better result. And decision making is something which is simple and a decision making based on resources. Chalo. Now first investigation of TB diagnosis is always sputum smear examination. Okay, but in a recent guideline by Indian government, they are saying that in this time of COVID-19, if patients are coming to us, we can directly also go for CBNAT. But this is only for COVID-19 cases, which has 4 symptom complex. They should go for CBNAT test also, because COVID-19 should also be tested for TB. So COVID-19 cases with 4 symptom complex. And a 4 symptom complex. What are the 4 symptoms complex? First, there should be cough, we all know, for more than or equal to 2 weeks. Then second is the significant weight loss. Significant weight loss means that more than 10% loss of body weight in 3 months. Okay, more than 10% in 3 months. In 3 months, that is significant. Third point of this 4-point diagnostic pathway is night sweat, night sweating, and fourth is the fever. So if 4 things are present in a COVID-19 case, or any one of the 4 things is present in COVID-19 case, we will go for CBNAT directly. But if they ask first diagnosis investigation, the answer will be sputum smear examination, no doubt. Okay? But in COVID-19 case, if they ask what is the first investigation, so in COVID-19 case, first investigation is CBNAT. Of course, for TB, and a first investigation for TB is CBNAT, according to latest guideline change by Government of India. Okay? Now, one more question was, which of the following is not constrained by time? So, we know it for sure that goal is not constrained by time. So what is vision, target, goal, mission? What is the difference between them? Vision is the broader picture which you see. And suppose someone have the vision to see happiness in every Indian. And to suppose the vision is to that every Indian is truly happy from inside. Okay, that is the vision. And this is a broader picture which you see, that everyone has employment, everyone is truly happy from inside. Then mission is how to achieve the vision. Okay, the method to achieve the vision is mission. For that I said, like, to have equality among people, okay, and job opportunity for the rural population, let's say, and job opportunity for all. So this is the mission, how you will make every Indian happy. Now the goal is, it is not time limited, but it is something which can come after vision and mission. So the goal is to make every Indian happy. Goal is, suppose, to remove caste system and to remove dowry, caste system and dowry from India. So that will make many people happy. Now to achieve this goal, we will have some objectives and some targets. Okay, like the objective and target, these are bounded by time. They are time bounded. Okay. Then vision and mission, they are actually something which are broader picture, but they may or may not be limited by time, but goal is definitely not limited by time. So the answer to this question will be goal, because it is not at all limited by time. Then one more question was about ORS, that sodium is given with glucose for. So the answer is definitely it is given for co-transport, because if sodium and glucose are not given together, then the absorption will not occur from the intestinal epithelium. Now in the ORS there is two more things. One is trisodium citrate, then other is sodium chloride and potassium chloride. So this trisodium citrate, it has two roles. First is, this decreases, because that they can also ask in future exam, it decreases acidosis. Second thing is, it increases shelf life of ORS. Okay. Mostly due to dehydration, there is loss of sodium and potassium. Okay. So if you want to give sodium and potassium, you have to give glucose, because if you give glucose, then only there will be co-transport of sodium and potassium. Okay. So that is the answer to all the questions of this MCI discussion session. I hope it will be useful to you. If you have any doubt, any question, you can mail it to me at docashwani23@gmail.com. And please remember, it is DOC, not DOG. So thank you very much for listening. I hope it will be useful to you. Thank you.